My starters, let's quickly look into a few myths, business myths, and see if we can dispel them.
Let's get down to business.
The first myth being, do you need any funding to actually get started as far as business is concerned? And the truth is no. Remember, you've identified a problem. You've found ways and solutions that you think will work to satisfy and provide a solution to those problems. And at the meantime, does that problem warrant for you to get large sums of money to actually get started? Not really. The first thing you should do is actually acquire the necessary skills around what it is you want to solve. Some things are simply solved through training, through empowering, through capacitating, through coaching, and through mentorship. This means going into a business because you have a bit of business experience, identifying possible loopholes, and being at loggerheads with the business interests, and actually go and find the solution, promote the solution to the business owner, charge a particular fee based on market related expenses that you think the business can actually afford, or that you think your service is actually worth. Because as an individual, you've worked all this time acquiring knowledge and skills, and you've seen how certain things work and how certain things do not work. And based on that, you can provide those solutions. Just as a startup, as your basic and fundamental foundation for building that business, you may not need any startup funds. You may not need any startup support as far as money is concerned. And what does that mean? That means you can actually build a business without necessarily having startup capital. So the nature of the business will dictate how you actually start that business, but you will have to find creative ways using the knowledge and experience that you've acquired to actually ensure that your business grows. So myth number one, do you actually need any funds to get started? And the answer is, it depends. It depends on a number of things, as I've mentioned, but it's not as black and white as saying, yes, indeed, it is necessary to start up a business with funds, or to start up a business without funds. Either way is possible. You look at the nature of the business, you look at the inner workings of the business, you look at your own skill set, and you look at how your vision aligns with where you want the business to go. Okay, let's go into myth number two. You need a business plan to start a business. Is this necessarily true? Some businesses, when you start them, you do not need a business plan. Nothing is ever black and white.
How do you know somebody is a good entrepreneur? It's simple. They're very bad at writing business plans.
Some business, you do not need a business plan. Remember, a business plan is like a canvas that has been filled with information. It will guide the journey of your business. It will remind you of where you are going. But there are certain aspects of a business plan that will actually hold you back, like the financial projections.
And by the way, 8 years in finance as a venture capitalist, I have never seen an Excel spreadsheet that says the business won't make money. The business always makes money. The revenue line is always up, costs are always down, and profit is a perpetual quest of cream and water.
Like the income statement that hasn't necessarily occurred, particularly when you are opening the business. So there's certain factors around the experience that you would have to build up for your business plan to be realistic and pragmatic and to actually make sense. So no, you do not necessarily need a business plan, particularly to get started. You may need the business plan later on. Business plans are usually used as a vehicle to determine whether your business is worth investing in, to determine whether your business is credit worthy and can actually be worth a return in the future to the loan sharks or to the businesses that loan you money or loan you some capital for you to go somewhere. That's what the business plan is actually for. And on an individualistic or on a business model perspective, it also guides you in terms of where you want the business to go or where you want the business to end up. But it does not necessarily narrate or dictate the future of your business. So whether it's there or not, start that business. You worry about the business plan later on. But again, it will depend on the nature of the business. It will depend on how much you're going to scale or want to scale your business in how short a time. It helps you identify the strengths and weaknesses or possible threats of your businesses, but it also will help you in the research aspects where you identify the opportunities that will help you strive for better as far as your business is concerned. Therefore, will your business be profitable, or does it have a likelihood or a high likelihood to actually be profitable? So it looks at those particular aspects, but whether it serves as a document that will either make or break your business when you're starting out, the answer is no. It does not make or break your business when you're starting out. It's simply a tool that you actually use, a tool similar to the skills that you've built, a tool similar to the network that you've built, a tool similar to people that you can partner with or collaborate with in trying to make your business actually better. So to answer the question and to either dispel or agree with the myth, is a business plan necessary when you're starting a business? Not necessarily.
It's true. We see a lot of it in our environment. If somebody has an MBA, odds are they're going to suck at entrepreneurship. If they can write a really well-written business plan, odds are they're going to be really poor at this entrepreneurship thing.
Now let's jump into one that is not objectively clear from the get-go. The myth that says you need business experience to start a business. The question is, how do you really gain experience in the first place? You gain experience by jumping into something that you are going to learn from.
So we need to create a culture that says start. Start badly. Start scrappy. Make mistakes. Fail. Start again. But whatever you do, just start.
The truth is, my concept or principle is give yourself 3 to 5 years. Give yourself 3 to 5 years to know how to run a business, to understand the intricacies of business, to understand how to be a good manager or owner of a business, and then only judge whether you're good at that business or not. Here's why that's important. If people had to have experience to start businesses, many businesses wouldn't exist today. People jumped into the deep end and decided that they will learn about business once they are within that deep end. Yes, it's beneficial to have gained certain experience, but sometimes that experience can serve as a bottleneck. Paralysis analysis. Ever heard that saying where you overanalyze, you over-criticize, you critically look into things so much that you end up not acting on them? As far as business is concerned, action is what matters. You starting, it starts with you, by the way, you starting, that is actually what is more important as far as business is concerned. So you have to utilize whatever skills you've actually attained through your journey in life. Obviously, the earlier you start in business, the earlier you learn the art of selling, the earlier you learn the art of negotiating, the earlier you learn the ability to converse, to speak, to move products, or to sell yourself as a business, as an individual through the services that you actually offer, then the better. The sooner the journey starts, the better. But you can be someone who's in their 20s, 30s, 40s even, and it doesn't mean that within that particular sector you will fail just because you don't have the experience. So experience is not a determining factor of whether your business will succeed or not. Sometimes experience can be a bottleneck or deterrent. So actually make the decision to move by starting. You learn in the process. You'll acquire the experience in the process. And through your failing and through your failings, that's when you'll actually win, because you yourself will learn from your mistakes. Then through your inner workings and inner dealings of the business, you'll start learning from other people in the process. But you shouldn't tell yourself that you can't start a business simply because you don't have the experience. So this one I quickly dispel. I quickly tell you that I do not agree with this particular myth that you need experience to start a business. Instead, I say to you, start, jump, and then you'll figure it out along the way. You learn along the way what is it that you need to do for you to actually win in this business arena or business space or whatever industry or sector that you're in. You'll do your research within. Remember, there's certain basics around starting a business that you actually have to go through, watch them unfold, and then take a decision based on what you've looked into. But the fact that you actually don't have experience as someone who has operated in construction doesn't necessarily mean that your business will fail. It just means that some elements need you to be self-taught. Some elements need you to actually jump in with a wider open lens and also with a sponge type of mentality where your brain and your mind acts like a sponge. You learn from everyone you meet in the industry. You learn and interact with people that know things within the industry. You try and collaborate and build meaningful relationships that will take your lack of experience and actually drive you into an arena where you actually gain the experience. It's not something for you to nullify just because you don't have that experience. Like anything else, you start off with baby steps, and business is no different. It's just like the analogy of us as employers wanting people on their CVs to show a level of experience for them to actually have the job. That shouldn't be the case. Let's be realistic, guys. Let people gain experience on the job. They'll simply become better. The bigger questions are, do they align with the culture of the organization? Do they align with where the organization is going as far as the mission and vision of the organization are concerned? Do they have the necessary qualities that fit into the mold of the organization so that it takes the company forward? Do they understand policies? Do they understand procedures? Do they understand SOPs that will actually make the business profitable? Do they understand teamwork and working with people for the benefit of the organization? Those should be the key driving factors and not necessarily experience alone. So this myth, let's quickly dispel it. It doesn't work. I don't agree it. Don't actually stop yourself from opening a business just because you lack the experience.
Just start.
And then let's jump into, I'll actually work these ones at the same time. The first myth is not everyone is meant for business. The other one is actually everyone can get into business. Let's actually unpack these ones. Firstly, it could be true that not everyone is meant for business. The reason I say this is this. People have a different risk tolerance. The level is not the same. And business is hard. Business requires a lot of work, a lot of dedication, a lot of commitment, a lot of learnings, because along the way you are bound to fail several times in whatever arena. When you start your business, remember, you are everything to the business. You are the CEO, the director, the service provider, the supply chain operator or manager. You are the one that deals with HR related things. You need to see when to recruit, when to fire. You are the one that deals with finances and accounting. Whenever there are legal related things that you need to deal with, you are the one. You are that person. Every single aspect of the organization relies on you. Take you out and the business is as good as not existing. So in other words, people who don't have those qualities, the resilience and tenacity to move forward, those people may actually fail. And they may fall under the category of not everyone is meant for business. At the same time, the only way to find out whether you are meant for business or not is to actually try. Open your own business. Open your own business and see whether it will be lucrative and feasible for you to carry on in that entrepreneurial journey. Nothing is guaranteed. Nothing is guaranteed. And based on that, it means that you have to decide, am I an employee material? Am I a business owner material? Can I actually thrive in a business environment where I'm not making money? Or a pandemic strikes and the business is in trouble? Do you have the ability to jump and push and win in circumstances where it's actually hard? Do you have that ability? Do you have that ability to tap yourself on the shoulder when things are going well and then keep pushing? Or when things are going badly, do you just cry and curl up like a baby and lose? Which mentality will drive you forward? The level of confidence that you have as an individual will determine how far you go as far as that is concerned. So in this particular aspect, combining these two so-called myths was to simply answer the question, is everyone meant for business? And the truth is no, but how do they find out? Remember, business owners don't do everything in a business. Of course, there's a model that can be argued around that. To say that instead of people being employees in a business, there can be a model where they start invoicing. So if you are a cleaner and you have your own business for cleaning, but you cover the basics, soap, a mop, and the basic utilities that you actually need to use, then you invoice me as a business owner who owns the building, and I invoice somebody else for whatever other tenancy service that I provide, and that tenant is running their own business. It just becomes a constant cycle of business is done, an exchange of service and value is done, and therefore we are all businesses at the end of the day. So it's quite a big parallel or a big contrast. It depends how you look at it at that particular point in time. Are you meant for business or not? Thank you for joining me, my starters. I'm happy that you joined me to discuss these particular myths. If you'd like me to speak more on these related business topics, kindly let me know in the comments. I love and appreciate you, and I want you to do best because it starts with you. Cheers, guys.